welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about what I read in the month of March. Let's get started. I'm so excited to talk about all the books I read, the ones I hated, the ones I fucking loved. March was a little bit slow. March was what the French would call la chite, you know, it was la trash. We're gonna move on because April is going to be the creme de la creme. Let's talk about the 6 books that I read in March, okay? First things first though, you have to admit that I literally am stunning. Stunning! Look at me. Look at these eyes. I forgot how fucking sickening I look in a good dark eye. Like, I look so good. It's smoky. It's glamorous, it's edgy, and we're living. Typically with this kind of like look, I would wear something a little bit more scantily clad, maybe show off the girls or whatever, but it's really cold in the house for some reason, so I'm wearing a sweater instead. Oh, that's right. We have to talk about you. We have to talk about you, okay? Because there is something that I need to talk to you about, okay? I just need to say it. I need to say it. Don't backtalk me, first of all. Second of all, let me say it without you interrupting me, okay? Let me just say it. I know it's hard to hear, but just trust. Maybe you weren't aware. Maybe you didn't know. But your worthiness is not dependent on anything. You are worthy of love, worthy of belonging, worthy of life, not because you're beautiful, not because you're stunning, not because you're smart, not because you're productive, not because you're a hard worker, not because you're determined, not because your hair is nice, not because your skin is clear, not because your lips are big, not because your eyes are large, not because you have beautiful eyelashes. Your worthiness is not dependent on how skinny you are. Your worthiness is not dependent on how big your arms are. Your worthiness is not dependent on whether your hair is thick or thin. Your worthiness is not dependent on anything. Nothing. Your worthiness is simply fucking inherent, bitch. You could be a snaggletooth bitch who has never worked a day in her life, and you would still be worthy of life, of love, of belonging. You might think, no, Jordaline, actually you're wrong. I might not be worthy of love because sometimes I don't take care of myself, or I'm not pretty enough to be loved, or I'm not smart enough to, be part of a society. I don't work hard enough, not as hard as other people do. You might think, no, I'm not worthy of those things because I'm lazy, because I don't eat well, because I don't drink enough water. I'm not worthy because I'm not smaller than a size 6. I don't fit in. My hair is weird. I can't afford to buy new clothes. I don't make enough money. I'm not worthy. Shut up. First of all, you're gorgeous. And no matter what the fuck anyone fucking says, first of all, because they're fucking ugly as fuck, and you're literally striving and fucking thriving, bitch. Don't fucking forget that. Second of all, it doesn't matter what you do, what you look like, what you sound like. You are worthy inherently of love and belonging, and your worthiness gives you the right to be a bad bitch, okay? You don't have to be or do anything to be worthy, okay? You don't have to do or be, again, fucking anything to be worthy, period. No questions, no ands, ifs, or buts, okay? You simply being alive is contributing so fucking much to everyone that you know. Your presence is a shining fucking beacon upon a dark and still world. You are but a moving star through space, whilst everyone around you is stuck in place because they're just mesmerized by your beauty, by your grace, by your shine. Don't fucking forget that, okay? Okay, anyway. Love you. Oh, I got lipstick on the mic. Oops. Should we get started? I think we should get started. Let's get started. By the way, if you're new to my wrap-ups, how it works is we talk about the books from my least favorite to my most favorite. Ding! First of all, my least favorite book of the month, and a book that I DNF'd. I just could not get into it. That is Rhapsodic by Laura Thalassa. This was the Smut Club pick for me and my patrons on patreon.com/Jordaline Reads. If you want to join our book clubs, you can always join. The lowest tier is $3. Book club tier is $5. We do reading sprints, all day sprints. We call it Sunday sprints on Sundays. So excited. It's like a new thing and I'm like literally so excited to start it. Reading sprints on Sundays. We have book club discussions and the Discord is literally popping off. The Discord is literally just gorgeous and stunning. We have so much fun. We have so much fucking fun in the Discord. Anyway, if you want to join, there's always a link in the description. Rhapsodic, from what I know, is about this girl. Her name is Calypso. And she lives in this world where she's like a siren and she makes a deal with this guy named the Bargainer. Can you tell that I'm just like exhausted even just thinking about this book? It's basically like a romance smut thing between like this elf dude and this girl who's like a siren. And I hated it for a multitude of reasons. Allow me to demonstrate to you why I hated it so much. So Calypso / Callie is underdeveloped. Her character lacks inspiration, lacks everything mostly. I think what I really hated about this book was how Laura Thalassa put so much trust in the reader. It's like, hey, I'm just gonna thrust you in here. Good fucking luck. And like didn't really do the work to build the world. Like she was just like, this is a world where this is just like fantasy stuff and good, you know, you're welcome. So when you start reading it, you're like, the fuck is going on? What the fuck does this place look like? What are the rules? What are the barriers? And you don't know because she doesn't fucking tell you. She quite literally pushes you into the world with no rules, no backstory, no exposition really. And it's just like, follow these characters and just assume what's going on. She goes between 8 years ago and then like the present. All the flashbacks are about like the relationship that her and the bargainer had and then the relationship that they're now reforming. But all of this like backstory, in my opinion, needs to happen before you can tell any of the future present story. But you can't contextualize their present relationship because you don't know what the fuck happened in their past relationship. Like to me, it's a mess. It's a fucking mess. Also, her writing is doing the bare minimum. I DNF'd it at page 100. I'm so glad I did because I can't imagine having read like another 200 pages of this. It wasn't good because of the characters, because of the plot, because of the world building, like all of it I just wasn't here for, like at all. But I am gonna do a huge unhaul video. I have like over 100 books that are just like sitting around that I need to get rid of, and I figured why not make content out of it. I expect to see this in that video. This is trash. I hated it. Now let's also talk about another book that I absolutely fucking hated. Books like this next one are the reason why I think it's okay to be rude in your review. Books like this are the reason why I personally embrace and do not inhibit my need to be rude, mean, bitter, and cold. I know that some other like booktubers, booktalkers, bookstagrammers think that like we should all be holding authors with like, you know, kid gloves, but I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. It's because they do shit like this book and it just makes me angry. Anyway, that is In My Dreams I Hold a Knife. Is anybody surprised? This book is dog shit. This is about this girl named Jessica, and her only goal in her mind is to go back to this reunion, see the fucking faces of everybody that she went to school with and see their jaws drop and see them just fawn over her, because everything that she's worked for, all the money she's made, all the success she's had has been because she's wanted to basically say this to everyone that she's ever known. She goes, but then, you know, cue the murder mystery of like group of friends, one of their friends died. Now we have to figure out who it was among us that killed them. And I think this could have been interesting. I think this could have been good had it been done well. There is something inherently interesting about narcissistic, about terrible psychopathic, sociopathic people. Like, there's something interesting about them. This book doesn't do any of that. We're introduced to this character, Jessica, and she is both extremely narcissistic and extremely fucking insecure. We're introduced to this world where everybody worships her for no fucking reason. For no fucking reason. All of the men in the book love her. All of the men in the book are like, Jessica, you're so beautiful and gorgeous, and be my girlfriend, Jessica. Jessica, be my girlfriend. Kiss me in this back alley, Jessica. Jessica, I'm dying for you to hug me and hold me close. Jessica, tell me you need me. Jessica, be my friend. Jessica, like, for no reason. What is the reason for anyone to give a single flying fuck about this boring bitch? Like, why would anyone give a single flying fuck? I just kept thinking that the entire fucking book. Like, why does anyone give a single flying fuck about Jessica? What does Jessica have to offer? Nothing. The relationships, the friendships. Ugh. Everyone in this book is horrible. They're all deplorable. They should all literally just be going to jail. Jessica is in the center of it as this fucking asshole. Like, Jessica is the asshole, and then like all of the little characters are just like little hairs scattered amongst the butt. You know what I mean? What the fuck am I even talking about? They all just like revolve around her. The ending of the book. Actually, no. One of the characters, their entire motivation, their entire everything, like the bad guy, makes no fucking sense. No sense whatsoever, like at all. Their motivation for killing the girl who dies makes no sense. Their entire story arc makes no fucking sense. It's like this, big moment where like the bad guy is like explaining like their whole plan. It's so fucking stupid. Wow. Thanks, I hate it. Ashley Winstead's writing, if I may be so blunt, is nothing to write home about. Do you know how I described Samantha Downing's writing in like an earlier video as like the bare bones, as like lacking any meat? Ashley Winstead's writing is very similar. She has like the necessary bits, but nothing necessarily to like make you go, ooh, wow, like nothing like that at all. Yeah, I hated this. Anyway, so that's that. Every other book from now on is gorgeous. Love it, would recommend. And this next book, I expected it to be a little bit higher, but I was following my heart before filming, and I was like, what kind of order do I want to put these in? And my heart just told me to put it here. And which kind of surprised me a little bit. But that is The Paris Apartment. The fuck was that? The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. This is Lucy Foley's newest book, and it's about this girl who is getting into trouble. And so she's like, you know what? Let me just like leave the fucking country. So she leaves the country to go to Paris where her brother lives. And she's called him and she's like, I'm coming to Paris. And he was like, ugh, fine, I guess you can come. And she gets there and she's like, brother, where are you? And she can't find him. He's nowhere to be fucking seen. And everyone in the building, because there's like 6 other people who live in that building in Paris, is like, I don't know. But it's like kind of suspicious. So she's like, mystery. And she's gonna solve it. This is classic Lucy Foley. It's just the kind of thing that I fucking love. And like the reason why I stan this woman. It's so easy to get into. It's so cozy. The characters are all distinctive. The characters are all intriguing, and you kind of want to go searching and sleuthing around the book as well. I read these books, I become like a sleuth. Like in my mind, I become like a little Sherlock. I'm like, okay, who is it? Like who do we suspect the most medium? You know what I mean? By the way, I did do a reading vlog. I completely forgot to mention that. I did do a reading vlog for this book, and then also In My Dreams I Hold a Knife. I will link it up above and down below in case you want to go watch it. This was also our Patreon book club pick. Also, so was In My Dreams I Hold a Knife. Most of these are actually Patreon book club picks. I have a few book clubs on the Patreon. So if you join the Patreon, there's always going to be at least one book that you're interested in reading. There's not much to say. Like, It's just wholesome fun, in my opinion. Like, it's just good. The whole book, I was on my toes. The whole book, I was like fully enjoying myself. There were a few moments in the beginning of the novel that were kind of just like, okay, like that's a little bit like willful ignorance, where obviously you're just like not gonna investigate those things even though they're obvious, but like whatever. But like the middle and the end were great. I loved it. I also kind of guessed who it was, so like I'm basically Sherlock. A book that wasn't on my Patreon, or even I think my TBR, is The Overnight Guest by Heather Gutenkopf. I picked this book up on a whim because I was sort of like feeling slumpy. I need something that's quick, that's easy, and something that's gonna just like get me back into the mood to read. We're following this girl named Wiley. Wiley is a true crime writer, and she's staying in this cabin in the middle of buttfuck nowhere. That's like snow everywhere. There's like a storm. She's trying to, you know, write her next novel. She comes across this boy in the snow, and she's like, the fuck? What the fuck are you doing out here? It's like minus, I don't know, like 30, or like it's so dangerous. You could freeze to fucking death. And the kid doesn't speak. The kid doesn't say anything. So Wiley takes this little boy into her home and like tries to warm him up. He doesn't talk or anything. But her and this boy are like trapped inside the house. There's no way for her to call for help or anything like that. And there might be somebody who wants to, you know, like kill them. I love these kinds of books that are like isolated house, storm, you know, child or whatever, like crazy guy on the loose. The whole book you're going between like present day with Wiley and then in the past and like what happened with this like family murder. It did that thing where like it ends one chapter on like a cliffhanger and you're like, no, I want to know. So then you start reading the next chapter kind of like begrudgingly, but then by the time that chapter ends, it's also like a cliffhanger and you're like, oh my god, what the fuck's gonna happen? But then you get to the next chapter where it's like the other thing, and it's so good. I fucking loved it. First of all, I really liked Wiley. She was a badass bitch who like literally didn't take shit, and she was like a fucking fighter. God bless. Loved the mystery of everything. I had no idea who the fuck the bad guy was. I had no idea like who to fucking suspect. I didn't know what to think. I was also like perplexed by like the kid and like the whole thing. The whole thing is like a wild ride, and the ending especially is just bonkers. I was like, are we really just gonna like do all of this and like have me go into like heart palpitations and stuff? Like, here's my seat. This is me just like off the edge, like on the edge of it. Like, it was so good. I really fucking liked this. Really fucking liked this. It's a really fun thriller. And I think if you're like looking for something that's like short, sweet, but also like really fast paced, because I think I finished it in like 2 sittings, because it's just very easy and like super fun to just like boom, you're good. My second favorite book of the month was a book that I actually finished on the 1st, but I'm still counting it for March because it started in March. So, and that is Zeni by Rebecca Weatherspoon. I fucking ate this shit. I ate it. Bitch, I had a fucking fork. I had a fucking knife. And I was just like, I was so into it. This is about Zeni. Zeni's aunt dies. Her aunt and her were super fucking close. Also, her aunt used to be part of this like music group, but then her and her sisters got this huge feud, and like everything's just crazy. So much family drama. During the will reading, it's come out that her aunt is giving her like $24 million or something like that. But there's a catch. Zeni has to marry this dude named Mason to get the inheritance. Her aunt from the afterlife is literally like, you're gonna like this dude. I could just tell. You guys are totally gonna be like so good together. So just like get married. So Zeni and this dude have to figure out if they're going to get married to get their money, because Mason also is part of the will, and it's also getting like $100,000 from Zeni's aunt. First of all, do not listen to the audiobook for this book. The audiobook The audiobook is so bad that it's kind of funny. Like the audiobook is ridiculously horrible that it's like kind of hilarious, especially the sex scenes. The sex scenes in the audio, like the audiobook narrator was like, "Oh, you want like desire and like love? No, I'm not gonna give any of that in my performance." Hilarious, but ultimately horrible. Do not listen to the audiobook. Going into it, you just fall in love with Zeni. You want so badly for her to, you know, reconcile her own emotions and like come to terms with them. And then Mason, who's like the Scottish dude. First of all, by representation, a big, tall, fat man who's bi, Scottish, and wants to be pegged. Have you ever needed anything more in your life? Like, that's the question. Like, do you want that in your life? Because I didn't know that I did, but I do. You know, I do, and I did. I loved Mason. I loved Zeni. I love their relationship. They so easily within the book sort of just like click together that it's like, it's almost like effortless. Like, I'm sure Rebecca Weatherspoon was just like behind the scenes, just like, yes, I'm gonna get these bitches. And she got us. She got me. Like, I am for sure gonna be picking up the other book in this series, I think called Rafe. For sure, because I loved this one so much, and I need more of Rebecca Weatherspoon because her writing, first of all, gorgeous. Her characters, gorgeous. The plot was a beautiful, beautiful mixture of like plot and then sex, and it was just melded. It just melted together, and it was gorgeous. Oh my god, I love this. It's like romantic, it's plot driven, but also like character driven. It's just perfect. It's just so good. Just read it. Please do me a favor and fucking read this, and then tell me how much you love it when you read it, because you're gonna love it. Also, the pegging, so good. I mean, all the sex scenes, to be honest, are just like mwah, gorgeous, but the pegging scene, thank you, Jesus and Satan. Thank you, Satan. And now for the last book, for my favorite book of the month, which you might not be surprised to see considering how much I've just been talking so fucking much about this author and then just this book, and that is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. In what universe, like I've said before in multiple videos, where and when would you have ever seen me with a Sarah J. Maas book in my wrap up? But specifically even just like A Court of Thorns and Roses, like where would you have seen that other than in an alternate dimension, in an alternate reality where I am not me at all? No one is more shocked than I am, but I ate this shit up even more than Zeni. Like, I loved this. I mean, shit, like look at my fucking annotations. I went hog fucking wild, bitch. I loved this so much. For so many reasons. Sarah J. Maas's writing, gorgeous. You can tell when you read Crescent City that she's like really improved from here, but even here, her writing is so good. Let's talk about the premise. There's this girl named Feyre. Feyre is the daughter to this dude, and she has two sisters. Her father used to be like middle class, but then he lost all his money and like basically like lost his will to live. And her sisters are very like material girls, you know what I mean? Like, they don't really want to do any work. They just want to eat and get pretty shit. So Feyre is left to do the hunting, to do like the cooking, and to like, you know, do everything for the family, basically be like the breadwinner in a sense. At the beginning of the novel, Feyre is out and about and she's hunting and she sees this deer, but then also she sees this wolf and she's like, oh my god, there's a fucking wolf, what the fuck? So she's like shitting her pants, but then she's like, you know what, I'm a brave bitch, I'm brave. And so then she kills the wolf. She skins the wolf and she sells its pelts and blah 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 blah. And then this thing shows up at her door, like this monster, this beast, and he's like, who killed the wolf? Who killed my friend? And they're like, no, they're all scared. But then Feyre is like this bad bitch, so she like stands up and she's like, I fucking killed the wolf, what are you gonna do about it, bitch? Basically. And this is kind of like the ridiculous part of like because he then says, you can either die, I can kill you, or you can live in my mansion. And so of course Feyre's gonna be like, I'll take the fucking mansion. The fuck are you talking about? So she goes to like the fairy world, basically, which is like across the wall. And she goes to live with this guy whose name is Tamlin, his house in the spring court. Romance and mystery ensues. I loved this so much. And like, I'm reading the second book right now, and that shit is even better than this, okay? Which is crazy to me. I loved it because it's simple. It's simple. I feel like if you're new to fantasy or even like high fantasy, you should read this book because I think you would like it. Because I think it's like a very easy, good place. It's like a nice stepping stone. Do you know what I mean? I loved the characters. I loved the world building. The world building is immaculate. And I love Sarah J. Maas's style. Also, the spiciness. I went in with like no sense of you know, seasoning, feeling, spice on my tongue, and I left just being like, oh, you know, it's spicy, it's warm, it's hot. I loved it so much. Oh my god, I loved it. I did a whole reading vlog, which I will link up above and down below, and I also read this with my patrons. We have an ACOTAR book club, which we're reading one book of the series per month. I loved this. I don't even know what to say about it. I'm sure you've read it. If you're even a little bit interested, just do it. Just do it. Follow your heart. Follow your heart. My friends, my family, my familia. That was it. That's the video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I've really, really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know down below if you've read any of these books, what you thought of them. Let me know if you've also hate the fucking In My Dreams book, please. And I want to shit talk it. If you made it this far, leave me this emoji. That way I can see who the real fucking ones are, okay? I can see who's my favorite. You. It's gonna be you. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have a wonderful day. And I will see you in my next one. Oh, also, don't forget to hit subscribe because we talk about spooky shit. We talk about creepy shit. We talk about almost forgetting the outro and shit. Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!